one of our newest board members, and he's also one of the founders of Stuttering Awareness, Mental Health Wellbeing of Ireland. And Jamie's done some incredible things with his team, and they are here to present from Stuttering Awareness, Mental Wellbeing of Ireland. Take it away, Jamie.
Thank you, Tom. I'll just upload the presentation. So can everybody see this?
Yes.
Wonderful. So starting off will be Michael O'Shea.
Michael O'Shea. I'm a person of verbal difference. I stutter. I started stuttering at the age of 4. Got a severe beating from a nun in school. I didn't speak for 3 months. 3 years later, I got another beating from the principal of another school. And from that point on, I developed a very severe overt stutter. I would like to take this opportunity today to thank you all for attending. It is great. I've been involved with the stuttering community for longer than I can remember, and to come to a day where there's over 1,000 people in attendance is absolutely phenomenal. I would like to thank you all and the World Stuttering Network for this fantastic opportunity and platform to express and connect with each other. So I'd like to introduce our team. Michael O'Shea, I'm co-founder of Stuttering Awareness Mental Wellbeing Ireland with Jamie Googan, Michael Ryan, Mr. Con Hurley, and Miss Martina Ross. A little bit about myself. I come from County Kilkenny in Ireland, which is down in the southeast of Ireland. I was a co-founder of Ireland's first National Stuttering Awareness Day back in 2007 with speech and language therapist in Ireland, Dr. Jonathan Linklater. Both of us ran that National Stuttering Awareness Day from 2007 to 2016. It has been run now very successfully by the Irish Stuttering Association, and I see that they have one of their representatives here today, which is great to see as well. I'm author of Why I Call My Sister Harry. Her name was Mary, and I couldn't say it. And at the age of 4, I changed it to Harry, because the only 2 letters in the alphabet I could start a word with without stuttering were A and H. So Harry, and my second son's name is Alan. And if it had been my preference for a daughter as our first child, it would have been Aoife, Ailish, or Aisling, the mindset and mentality of a stutterer. I'm co-founder of Stuttering Awareness Mental Wellbeing Ireland. The campaign to raise awareness of the issues faced by those who stutter is led by 5 individuals: Michael Ryan, Michael O'Shea, Martina Ross, Jamie Googan. All of us have been and are challenged by stuttering and have come together determined not only to raise awareness in Ireland on the mental health challenges faced by those who stutter, but also to improve the quality of life for young people who stutter in order that they have better life experiences much earlier in life than what we have. Stuttering is the feeling of difference. In the classroom, 4, 5, 6-year-olds, feeling of difference, the feeling of isolation. And if I asked any of you to tell me about your stuttering, the majority of you would go back into your childhood. That's the impact of stuttering. Mr. Con Hurley is a teacher of 20 years plus experience. Con is passionate about student voice. He has always recognized the importance of supporting the mental well-being of the pupil and their right to be fully included in school life. He has long supported students who stutter, and his part leadership in this campaign is a natural extension of his daily work. Just getting back to a point, there's a big difference between stuttering mental well-being and mental health. We can all look after our mental well-being. It's the transition into mental health is where the difficulty is. And we all know over 80% of the inquiries that we get in Stuttering Awareness Mental Wellbeing Ireland, 80% is about mental well-being. Parents concerned about their progression of stuttering from childhood into adolescence. Thank you. Our campaign is a world's first for the stuttering community in that we have grown our campaign organically without the support of any government or organisation. We estimate that there are over 53,000 individuals who stutter in Ireland. All of them need support. We estimate that 800 children this year will be born in 2023 who will go on and develop a stutter. The objectives of our campaign to promote stuttering awareness and mental well-being in Ireland by 1, combating the sense of isolation through provision of platforms for people who are challenged by stuttering to connect with each other via social media. It was mentioned earlier on today, it has never been a better time in the history of stuttering as the present moment to get help and support for your own challenges with stuttering. The connections are there. 2, creating support groups for stutterers and their families in which experiences can be shared and isolation combated. An example of this is put 10 young people, 14, 15, into a room on their own, keep the parents out, get them to talk about their stuttering, and then bring into their parents after about half an hour to listen about the conversations that they had amongst themselves. The parents, their eyes are open, their ears are open, and their hearts sink because they are talking about stuff that was never talked about in the home. 3, to increase the cohesion of support provided to the stuttering community by building stronger connections with and between the self-help and professional speech communities. If we don't work as a community together, we're working as a community apart. There is a need to work more closely regarding and providing a more cohesive support network for people who are challenged by verbal difference. It's only a verbal difference of stuttering. To provide advice and supports to teachers and schools through a program of teacher education and information. Part of our project is to educate the educators about stuttering at primary level, secondary level, and university level. There's a big difference how an educator reacts to a student who stutters and how an educator responds to a teacher, to a pupil who stutters. 5, to advocate politically and socially for the Irish stuttering community through our participation in and contributions to International Stuttering Awareness Day on the 22nd of October each year. 6, to support the work of government departments as they do their best to support young people in the education system who stutter. Building a network of support. We have been at this for the past 2 years. First ones up were the Irish Parliament. We've made several presentations to our own Parliament. We've made several presentations to government departments in education, health and social. Cork City Council, who have been a fantastic support to us on our campaign, also Cork County Council. Munster Technological University have been a huge support and helped us launch our campaign 2 years ago. University College Cork, and Garda Síochána, which is the Irish Gaelic word for our National Police Force, and the European Union, where we are going this year to make presentations to both Brussels and Strasbourg. RTE is our local television network. We also deal with the local media. Virgin Media is an international network in Ireland, and we deal with those as well. President-elect Joe Biden was in 2020. American President Mr. Joe Biden is the most powerful and recognized politician on the planet. He is also a powerful advocate and ambassador for the worldwide stuttering community. President Biden is a person of verbal difference. He stutters. He stutters. He's a person of verbal difference. Micheál Martin, or Michael Martin, is the Prime Minister of Ireland. He was the first head of state to launch the World Stuttering Awareness Day in October 2022. And it was a very proud day for the Irish stuttering community, as he actively supports us and he is totally behind our project at Stuttering Awareness Mental Wellbeing Ireland. The launch of our campaign was on the 15th of September 2021. The people that you see in this slide or photograph are people of influence nationally and internationally. They are heads of universities, heads of industry, politicians, departments heads of universities. Those people have helped us and supported us from the word go, because our approach is different. It's different from anybody else that we know, in that we are connecting people to the people of influence who are connecting us with people of influence right across the globe. And they continue to give us that support 2 years later. We deal a lot with national radio in our own country. We were lucky enough last year to get a 55-minute interview on a national radio station, prime time, 55 minutes talking about stuttering. 3 stutterers talking about stuttering. It was fun, it was enjoyable, and it had a huge, huge impact by the response of the listenership. An invitation to President Biden to visit our country. It was done on the day of his inauguration, January 21st, 2022. This document was signed and delivered to Washington, signed by members of both houses of our Parliament, which a lot of you may know by the upper house and the lower house. It's different names on them in Ireland. The Lord Mayor of both Cork City and County Councils. Cork City and County Councils have been a major, major impact on how far we have gotten in just 2 years. Our police force on Garda Síochána, members of Stuttering Awareness Mental Wellbeing, and the presidents of both universities, Munster Technological University and University College Cork. We were invited guests by our President of Ireland, Mr. Michael D. Higgins, on July the 1st of last year. He runs a 5-day invitation garden party for voluntary organisations in Ireland, where he invites in all people who give of their time to help and support the local community. We were honoured to be asked to this, and we hope we'll be asked again this year, because it gave us an opportunity to spread awareness of stuttering. As you can see, we're dressed in green. Everybody else is nice and polite. They were dressed in suits. We stood out. People wanted to engage with us, and they engaged. And we went in there at, I think, to 6 o'clock in the evening, and we left at 11 o'clock that night, talking to people, spreading awareness of stuttering. We're also guests of the United States Ambassador to Ireland, Her Excellency Claire Cronin. This also had a huge attendance by invitation only, and it got us in contact with people of influence in industry, education, health, and politics. And we hope again this year that we may get an invitation again, because it was massively helpful for connections, because there was ambassadors from other countries there where we could present to them, and it was very helpful. I will now hand you over to Jamie Googan, and he will bring you through the rest of the presentation.
Thank you, Michael. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Jamie Googan. I am from County Cork, Ireland, which is in the south. I am the former Irish national champion in 3 different martial arts. During my time working for Munster Technological University, I set up the first ever mental health initiative for 22 schools in Cork. I'm the co-founder of Stuttering Awareness Mental Wellbeing Ireland, and also represent Ireland on the board of directors of the World Stuttering Network. I'm going to talk to you today about our recent visit to the United States of America. The Irish and the Americans are tied by a strong heritage and history, but we, people who have a stutter from Ireland, share an additional link with the President of the United States. Pictured here is with the Prime Minister of Ireland, An Taoiseach Leo Varadkar, who we met at the home of the Irish Ambassador in Washington, D.C. Our first meeting while we were in the United States was in New York City. We attended the United Nations headquarters and met with the Irish Ambassador Donald Keneally of the United Nations. It was the first time ever in the world that stuttering has been discussed at the United Nations. So another first time ever for the stuttering community. Throughout our conversations, Ireland will now lead the way for stuttering to be recognised by the United Nations. And this can be done through 2 different options, through a disability avenue or as a human rights issue, given that most countries have a freedom of speech, but for those who are silenced, for those who cannot communicate well, and for those who are of verbal difference, this is a huge issue for them. And we will continue our work with the United Nations to be officially recognized and become the first country in the world to advocate for stuttering support through the United Nations. We were delighted to meet with the Irish Ambassador to the United States, Her Excellency Geraldine Byrne-Nason. Geraldine Byrne-Nason is a former Irish Ambassador to the United Nations, where we first met. Her Excellency has been a fantastic supporter throughout our campaign and fully believes that a meeting between ourselves and the President would only send a very strong, powerful message of hope and solidarity to 53,000 Irish people who stutter. We will continue to work with the ambassador to further amplify the needs of the Irish and the Irish American stuttering community. At the ambassador's residence, we met with her counterpart, who was handpicked by the president himself, Joe Biden, Her Excellency Claire Cronin, who is the United States ambassador to Ireland. We were also guests of the ambassador's residence during the 4th of July celebrations. And I further met with the ambassador in Washington, DC the following day to further amplify the needs of the Irish and the Irish American stuttering community. We were delighted to meet with the governor of Maryland, Washington, Governor Wes Moore. And if you are in Washington, many people believe that in the future, this man will be the future president of the United States. Governor Wes Moore is very vocal about amplifying the need for greater American-Irish connections and is a very proud supporter of the Kerry football team. The former Speaker of the House, Congresswoman Nancy Pelosi. Over the last 30 years of the Congresswoman's career, she has been a true supporter and friend of Ireland. She has presented to the Irish Parliament on numerous occasions and has visited Ireland over 40 times. She has always vocalized her opinion for peace on the island of Ireland through her contributions to the Belfast Good Friday Agreement. Gifts for everyone. Pictured here is with the Governor and the Lieutenant Governor, Aronima Miller, the Congresswoman for the State of Philadelphia, Congresswoman Mary Scanlon, the Deputy Ambassador to the United Nations, Donald Keneally, and the Congresswoman Nancy Pelosi, all of whom got signed jerseys that are one of one. So it's a very, very special gift, given that these jerseys pictured here are the only ones signed by the entire football teams out of various counties. Shane O'Sullivan and I were delighted to receive an email from the President, Joe Biden, to be invited to the White House to celebrate the St. Patrick's Day festivities. Many people know my colleague here, Shane O'Sullivan, also a person of verbal difference. A few years ago, Shane O'Sullivan was on a TV show and he won lots of money on that TV show. And the following day, he was reading a newspaper and there was a young girl who could not find a way to get speech and language therapy. Shane O'Sullivan supported this young lady who also has autism and went to her house to support this fantastic young lady. And now that girl has the help and support she needs for years to come because of Shane's generosity. While we were at the White House, we were delighted to meet with two of Ireland's greatest ever exports, Congressman Richard Neal and Congressman Brendan Boyle, representing the state of Philadelphia and California. Both congressmen lead a US delegation for the Good Friday Agreement and are true friends of Ireland, coming from Donegal and County Kerry. The United States Special Envoy to Northern Ireland, Joseph Kennedy III, the grandchild of the General Robert Kennedy. During our conversations with Joseph Kennedy over 4 days, we're delighted to gain his support and his support for World Stuttering Awareness Day later this year. I would now like to hand you over to Martina Ross, who leads up its Just for Women support network.
Thank you, Jamie. Martina Ross is my name, and I have a stutter, and I have stuttered for as long as I can remember. And I am here on behalf of Stuttering Awareness Mental Wellbeing Ireland to speak about a Zoom that we have set up just for women. It's called it's for women and it's run on a monthly basis, and it's for women whether you stutter or not. And at these Zoom meetings, we set up a table topic. And for instance, our last meeting was at the end of April, and we spoke about relationships. And for me as a person with a stutter, it was really nice to be able to speak about how my stutter affected me socially. Now, as I said, this Zoom is not just for women that stutter. We invite other people who haven't got a stutter as well. And my sister, who hasn't got a stutter, is involved in our meetings, and her name is Mary. So Mary now is going to speak about what she gets from our meetings as a non-stutterer. Thank you, Mary.
Thank you, Martina. Hi, my name is Mary. I don't have a stutter. I originally joined the Stuttering Awareness Mental Wellbeing Ireland. As a non-stutterer, I didn't think I'd have anything to offer, but we all have something to contribute, stutter or not, to meet other women and have an informal chat. The women are all very inspiring, and it's great for your mental well-being, a lot of confidence. I enjoy the monthly meetings, so come and join us. It would be great to see if you're a stutterer or you're not a stutterer, you'll get a lot from it. We have a lot of laughs, and I know you'll have a good listening. Back to Martina.
Thank you, Mary. So don't forget, our meetings are on once a month. They're usually the second last Monday of the month, 7 until 8 p.m. Irish time. And you can get all the login details for these Zooms on the Stuttering Awareness Mental Wellbeing Ireland Facebook page. That's really hard to say when you have a stutter. So anyhow, as Mary said, you'll have lots of fun, and we would love to see new faces at our Zoom meetings. Thank you all very much for listening. And I will hand you over now to Jamie Googan. Thank you.
Thank you, Martina. I will just go through now what we have in store for the rest of 2023. And that is to address members of the Irish Parliament on stuttering awareness mental well-being, to achieve charitable status, education on a stuttering mindset by hosting an evening with every month. Every Wednesday from 7 to 8 p.m. Irish time, we host an evening with. And this is an open invitation to anyone who would like to host one of those meetings to message us directly, and we would be delighted to have you involved and host a meeting for Stuttering Awareness Mental Wellbeing Ireland. To bring our work to the attention of the world stuttering community and inspire them to act. Last October, the Irish Prime Minister became the first government leader in the world to launch World Stuttering Awareness Day. And we very much thank him for that. And this year we have something truly special in store for everyone. Continuing to offer support to schools and the education community. Con Hurley, an educator of 20 plus years experience, leads up our Education of the Educators and will be presenting here today at 4 p.m. Eastern Time or 10 p.m. Irish Time. To make representations to the European Parliament, which will happen later this year. It's just for women evening of network of supports that is led up by the fantastic Martina Ross, and we would encourage all females out there to join those meetings, a safe place to connect with other people. And to welcome the World Stuttering Network to Ireland, as we both work to improve the quality of life for people who stutter. Stuttering Awareness Mental Wellbeing Ireland are very proud to welcome Dr. Jared Maguire, Tricia Hedinger, and Tom Sharstein, the chairman of the World Network, to Ireland in October this year, as we both combined will make representations to the Irish Parliament, Munster Technological University with the president, Maggie Cusack, University College Cork with the president, Professor John O'Halloran, and also 4 Lord Mayors throughout the country of Ireland. A fantastic trip to be had and lots of work to do for the Irish stuttering community. Mr. Tyson Fury, the world heavyweight champion, who last year sent a message of support for Stuttering Awareness Mental Wellbeing Ireland and to promote stuttering worldwide. We are delighted that the world heavyweight champion will be involved in our campaign in October this year. The individual to launch World Stuttering Awareness Day will be a surprise for everyone. We're not going to release it until October, but it has been confirmed this week. Last year, our Prime Minister launched that very special day, and this year we're going just a small bit bigger. Mr. Con Hurley, an educator with 20+ years experience, will be presenting here today on the education of the educators and how schools and third-level universities can create a platform of inclusion for people who stutter. We would encourage everyone to tune in to Con's speech, who is a non-stutterer, as he makes a wonderful presentation on the education of the educators. Feel free to follow us on our various social media platforms, Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. And we also have a website called Stuttering Awareness Mental Wellbeing Ireland. Gorov Mila Mahgut on World Stuttering Network. Again, Delta on Doin on Tom Sharstein in Florida. We would be delighted to take any questions that anyone might have. And Tom, you can now add Irish to those list of languages.